CNN is learning that former Vice President Mike Pence is open to discussing a possible agreement with the Justice Department, which is seeking his testimony in the criminal investigation into efforts by former President Trump and his allies to stop the transfer of power after the 2020 election. CNN senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Elie Honig joins us now. Elie, that is fascinating that the former vice president might get into some kind of a conversation with the Department of Justice about all of this. Can they force him if he refuses?
Yeah, Jim, the short answer is yes, they can force him if he refuses. And I think for that reason, Mike Pence will work out some agreement where he either testifies in front of a grand jury or perhaps just gives an interview to DOJ. It's really important to understand here. We are no longer in the realm of the January 6th committee and Congress and congressional subpoenas and congressional requests for information. We're now talking about a criminal investigation being carried out by the U.S. Department of Justice. And if you think back to the January 6th investigation, we saw plenty of people, including Mike Pence himself, sort of casually brush off the committee and nothing happened. Well, it doesn't work that way when you're in front of DOJ and a grand jury. They can compel you to come forward and testify if you don't want to, if you don't agree to. And the arguments that Mike Pence made regarding January 6th, well, he said, first of all, there's a separation of powers problem with the former vice president testifying in front of Congress. That doesn't apply here. We're talking about the executive branch, DOJ. And he said there could be an executive privilege issue. That may be, but there's still plenty of topics on which Mike Pence can testify about. I also don't think executive privilege will hold here. So DOJ does have the upper hand, and I do think Mike Pence will talk to them.
And what does it say about the Justice Department's strategy here?
Well, it tells us that they're now looking at the top of the food chain, at the top of the power hierarchy, and it's taken some time for them to get there. I think that's the criticism, but we do know that DOJ now is focused squarely on Donald Trump. In fact, when Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, announced the special counsel a week or so ago, that was the first time DOJ specifically acknowledged that they're focused on Donald Trump himself. But again, here we are. It's the end of 2022, and DOJ is finally getting around to talking to Mike Pence. I don't see any reason they couldn't have done this in earlier, mid-2021, but they are finally focused at the top.
And Elie, this is also fascinating. This week, a federal appeals court heard arguments in the Justice Department's challenge to the special master appointed to vet the documents seized from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. A ruling could come anytime. That ruling, I imagine, will be very important in all of this.
It will, and it sure looks like the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals is going to side with the Justice Department and against Donald Trump and put an end to the special master's review. Looking at that argument, Jim, the three-judge Court of Appeals panel was quite skeptical towards the rationale that Donald Trump's lawyers were arguing. I think Donald Trump's lawyers actually mishandled that argument. They could have made a very straightforward argument of, we have a special master, a person who both sides have agreed to. All we're asking is that he protect our privileges. Instead, Trump's lawyers went a couple steps beyond that and said, oh, those documents belong to Donald Trump. They're his property. He gets to keep them. Sometimes lawyers make that mistake. They argue way more than they need in order to prevail on the issue. So you're right. We could hear any day. And if this goes in DOJ's favor, then it will put an end to the special master ruling.
All right. Fascinating. A lot of ground to cover, Elie Honig. Thank you very much, as always. We appreciate it.